Have you ever wondered why that woman you're interested in completely ignores you? What you're about to discover will forever change how you interact with women. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what to do when a woman ignores you, so that, within days, she'll be the one desperately seeking your attention. There's a fundamental principle in female psychology that few men truly understand. Strauss discovered it after years of studying attraction dynamics. What you chase runs away. What you release comes to you. Although it sounds contradictory, this is precisely the principle you need to understand if you want to stop being ignored and become magnetic. The mistake most men make when a woman ignores them is falling into a state of desperation. They constantly send messages, seek explanations, try to prove their worth, and all they accomplish is pushing her further away. Why? Because desperation is the most repellent energy that exists. When you act from a place of need, you project insecurity, and nothing turns off a woman's interest faster than an insecure man. The first key to reversing this situation is learning to control your emotional reactions. As Strauss says, your value doesn't increase by chasing, it increases when you become unreachable. Every time you impulsively react to her indifference, you're handing over all your power. You're telling her, without words, that she has control over your emotions. But what would happen if instead of reacting, you responded strategically? Imagine this situation. She doesn't answer your messages for hours, even days. Instead of bombarding her asking what's wrong or if you did something wrong, you simply continue with your life. When she finally responds, you don't jump as if you've been anxiously waiting. You respond when you have time, calmly, like someone who has options and a full life. Here's a practical exercise to start applying this. The next time you feel the urge to write to that person who's ignoring you, stop. Take 5 deep breaths and ask yourself, am I acting from abundance or from scarcity? If the answer is scarcity, don't send that message. Instead, do something that makes you feel valuable and productive. This simple change will begin to transform your energy. Always remember that whoever controls their emotional reactions controls the dynamic. Women are biologically programmed to feel attracted to men who maintain their composure even in situations of tension or rejection. It's an evolutionary signal of strength and stability. Want to instantly increase your attractiveness? Then learn not to react when she expects you to. If you really want that woman who ignores you to start seeking you out, you need to understand that mystery is one of the most potent aphrodisiacs that exists. And that's what we'll talk about in the next point. The second fundamental principle to become irresistible is cultivating mystery and unpredictability. Strauss explains it perfectly. Familiarity kills attraction. Mystery feeds it. When you're an open book, when you're always available, when she can predict exactly how you're going to act, interest dies quickly. Most men make the mistake of revealing everything too soon. They talk about their feelings, their insecurities, how much they like her, and without realizing it, they eliminate any space for curiosity and imagination. Female attraction is nourished by anticipation, by unanswered questions, by that feeling of, I want to know more about him. Think about great stories, about movies that keep you on the edge of your seat. What do they have in common? They don't reveal everything at once. They keep you hooked because there's always something more to discover. Your presence in a woman's life should generate that same feeling. How can you create mystery when a woman ignores you? First, drastically reduce your availability. If you used to respond to her messages instantly, now take your time. If you used to tell her everything about your day, now share only intriguing fragments. I just experienced something incredible. I'll tell you when we meet is infinitely more attractive than a detailed explanation via message. Second, learn the art of indirect communication. Instead of explicitly saying what you think or feel, use stories, metaphors, or ambiguous comments that make her think. Strauss calls this planting curiosity. For example, instead of telling her you had a great weekend, you can say, "This weekend made me rethink some things." Interesting how life sometimes surprises you, don't you think? Do this exercise. Make a list of the last 3 conversations you had with her and analyze what percentage of personal information you revealed versus how much mystery you created. From now on, maintain the ratio 70-30, 70% mystery, 30% revelation. Have you noticed that we always value more what's harder to get? Women are no different. When you're a challenge, when they can't easily have you, your value increases exponentially. As Neil Strauss says, don't chase, attract. Don't pressure, seduce. Don't push, invite. Before continuing, I want to remind you that if you're enjoying this content and want to completely transform your ability to attract the women you truly desire, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notification bell. We're creating a community of men who understand the true dynamics of attraction, and we want you to be part of it. Now let's move on to the third crucial point, the absolute power of mental abundance. This is perhaps the most profound change you need to make if you want a woman who ignores you to start desperately seeking you out. Neil Strauss explains it brilliantly. Need repels, abundance attracts. When you act as if that specific woman is your only option, you're unconsciously telling her that you have no value in the relationship market, and nothing is less attractive than a man who perceives himself as low value. The abundance mindset doesn't mean you should be arrogant or treat women poorly. It simply means that you understand at a deep level that there are infinite opportunities out there. It means that, although you appreciate that specific person, your happiness and your value don't depend on her approval or attention. This is an internal change that's reflected in everything you do, in how you talk, in your body language, in the decisions you make. Women have an extremely sensitive radar for detecting whether a man comes from abundance or scarcity, and they instinctively respond to that energy. So how do you cultivate this abundance mindset when you feel that specific woman is all you want? Here are 3 practical strategies. First, consciously expand your social circle. Meet new people, not just potential partners, but friends, professional connections, mentors. When your social world is rich and diverse, you naturally project abundance. Second, invest in yourself. Develop skills, take care of your body, learn new things, pursue your passions. Nothing communicates more abundance than a man committed to his own growth. Third, practice gratitude for what you already have. Scarcity is a mindset that ignores present blessings while obsessing over what's missing. Conscious gratitude rewires your brain towards abundance. Want a practical exercise to start today? Repeat this affirmation every morning for 21 days. I live in a world of infinite abundance. Opportunities, connections, and extraordinary experiences flow to me naturally. I don't need to chase because my intrinsic value attracts exactly what I deserve. Neil Strauss discovered something fascinating in his studies on attraction. When you stop needing validation from a specific woman, paradoxically, that's when she begins to feel more attracted to you. Why? Because validation is a form of power. Whoever needs it less has more power in the dynamic. Have you noticed how the most attractive people rarely seek approval? They don't constantly ask if they look good, if they're doing well, if they're enough. They simply exist with confidence in their own value. And that confidence, that internal certainty, is magnetic. When a woman ignores you and you respond from abundance, you send a powerful message, I'm fine without your attention. This subconscious message triggers curiosity and even anxiety in her. Why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? What does he have that gives him such confidence? And it's at that moment when the dynamic begins to change. But remember, abundance isn't something you can fake for long. It's an internal state that's consciously cultivated. And once you achieve it, you not only transform your romantic relationships, but your entire life experience. And now let's address the 4th crucial point to become magnetic, the art of conscious polarization. And almost nobody talks about this. Neil Strauss explains it perfectly. A man who tries to please everyone ends up attracting no one in particular. The need to be accepted by everyone is another symptom of the scarcity mindset. Men with true attractiveness understand that polarizing is more powerful than pleasing. What does it mean to polarize? It means expressing your opinions, values, and desires without apologizing. It means being willing to have some people disagree with you or even walk away. It means having the confidence to define your own standards and maintain them. When a woman ignores you and you keep trying to please her, adapting to what you think she wants, you lose authenticity. You become a diluted version of yourself. And authenticity is one of the most attractive traits that exist. Think about the people you admire most. They're probably individuals who remain true to themselves, who have clarity about who they are and what they stand for. That internal certainty generates respect and attraction. How can you apply this when a woman ignores you? Instead of trying to figure out what you did wrong or how you can change to please her, ask yourself, is this person really compatible with my values and standards? If the answer is yes, maintain your integrity while remaining interested. If the answer is no, have the courage to walk away. Here's a practical exercise. Identify 3 non-negotiable values or principles in your life. They could be honesty, ambition, loyalty, creativity, whatever is authentically important to you. The next time you interact with this woman or any other, consciously look for ways to express these values, even if that means creating some friction or disagreement. Neil Strauss discovered that this type of brave authenticity is incredibly attractive because it's rare. In a world where most men are social chameleons, constantly adapting to please, the one who remains true to himself immediately stands out. Polarization also creates respect. Even if a woman disagrees with your opinions or decisions, she'll respect that you have the strength to maintain them. And respect is a fundamental precursor to female attraction. Have you noticed that the most charismatic people aren't those who try to please everyone, but those who have the confidence to be authentically themselves? That's the essence of conscious polarization. There's something liberating about accepting that you can't and shouldn't try to please everyone. When you internalize this truth, a sense of lightness floods your being. You no longer have to be constantly worried about what others think. You can simply be you in your most authentic expression. And here's the paradox. When you stop desperately trying to please a specific woman, when you allow yourself to polarize and potentially push her away, that's precisely when you become more attractive in her eyes, because you demonstrate that you don't need her approval to validate your worth. Always remember Neil Strauss's words, "Don't look for love, look to create the conditions where love can flourish." Conscious polarization creates exactly those conditions. Before moving on to the 5th and final point, I want to remind you that we're building a community of men who understand these principles at a deep level. If you're receiving value from this content, make sure to leave a like, share this video with someone who needs it, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content that can transform your relational life. Now let's move on to the 5th principle, perhaps the most powerful of all, the mastery of presence and the law of inverse attraction. Neil Strauss discovered it after years of research. Attraction isn't a choice, it's a response to certain stimuli. And one of the most powerful stimuli is full presence. In a world of constant distractions, the ability to be completely present has become extremely valuable and attractive. What does it really mean to be present? It means that when you're with someone, you're completely there. You're not mentally worried about the past or anxious about the future. You're not checking your phone every 2 minutes or looking over your shoulder for better options. You're totally immersed in the moment, giving your full attention. Presence creates a deep connection that goes beyond words. Women feel it instinctively. When you're truly present with a woman, you're giving her one of the most precious gifts in the modern world, your undivided attention. But here comes the counterintuitive part, the law of inverse attraction. When a woman is ignoring you, your instinct might be to try to capture her attention by being more insistent, more visible, more present in her life. But the most effective strategy is exactly the opposite. Instead of chasing her attention, withdraw yours. Instead of increasing your presence in her life, reduce it. Create a void that she feels the urge to fill. Neil Strauss explains it this way. Desire arises in the space of absence. When you're constantly available, when your presence is a guaranteed fact, there's no space for desire to arise. It's like trying to light a fire without oxygen. Desire needs space to breathe, to grow, to intensify. Here's a practical exercise to implement this. If you've been very present in the life of that woman who ignores you, constant messages, total availability, looking for occasions to see her, make a strategic retreat. Dramatically reduce your presence, not abruptly or as a punishment, but as someone who is simply busy with his own extraordinary life. During this retreat, focus on cultivating your own inner presence. Practice mindfulness. Learn to enjoy your own company. Develop that internal magnetism that doesn't depend on external validation. The fascinating thing about the law of inverse attraction is that it works at a deep psychological level. When someone who used to be very present in your life suddenly reduces that presence, your mind begins to question, what happened? Why isn't he as interested anymore? Is there something or someone else in his life? These questions generate curiosity, and curiosity is the precursor to renewed interest. Repeat this affirmation daily to strengthen your ability to implement this principle. My presence is a gift that I consciously offer, not a resource that I desperately give away. I cultivate my own internal space of fullness, and from there I attract, never chase. Have you noticed how the most attractive people have an almost magnetic quality? They don't need to do much to capture attention. They simply enter a space and something in their presence, in their energy, attracts gazes. This is the result of internal mastery, of personal work that transcends superficial seduction techniques. When you combine all these principles, emotional control, strategic mystery, abundance mindset, conscious polarization, and mastery of presence, you create a powerful synergy that completely transforms how women perceive you. You're no longer the man who desperately chases attention and validation. You become someone who naturally attracts through the force of his internal presence. Neil Strauss summarizes it perfectly. True seduction isn't about tricks or techniques. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and allowing that to shine so intensely that others can't help but notice it. And here's the final transformation. When a woman who previously ignored you begins to seek you out, it's not because you've used some manipulative trick. It's because you've done genuine internal work that has changed your energy, your presence, and your self-worth. That change is what she perceives, what intrigues her, what finally attracts her to you. The most beautiful paradox in the game of attraction is that when you stop needing a specific woman to desire you, that's precisely when you become more desirable. When your happiness, your fullness, and your sense of worth don't depend on her attention or validation, that's when you become truly magnetic. And if there's one thing you should take away from all this, it's the following. True power in relationships doesn't come from external techniques, but from internal mastery. It's not about what to do or say in specific situations, but about who you are at your core. That's the true transformation that Neil Strauss discovered after years in the world of seduction. Have you been chasing when you should be attracting? Have you been reacting when you should be responding strategically? Have you been desperately giving your presence when you should be cultivating it internally? Today, you have the opportunity to change that dynamic forever, to transform yourself into someone who naturally attracts what he desires without effort, without desperation, without pursuit. The next time a woman ignores you, instead of panicking, smile. Because now you know exactly what to do. You won't chase, you won't beg, you won't try to convince her. Instead, you'll focus on yourself, on your growth, on your presence, on your inherent value. And from that place of fullness, you'll create a magnetic vacuum that she'll feel the irresistible urge to fill. True seduction is never about manipulating others. It's about transforming yourself into someone so complete, so present, so aligned with your truth, that you naturally attract what you desire. As Neil Strauss says, don't chase the butterfly, improve your garden, and let the butterfly come to you. To finish, I want you to leave a comment below this video saying, I choose to be unreachable for anything that doesn't add value to me. My energy is valuable, and I consciously protect it. This will be your public commitment to this new way of being, to this new energy that will naturally attract to you not only the woman who now ignores you, but all the experiences and people who truly deserve to be in your life. If this content has impacted you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share it with other men who may benefit from these principles. We're creating a community of conscious, empowered, and magnetic men, and we want you to be part of it. Remember, true power isn't in chasing what you want, but in becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts it. That's the transformation that awaits you when you apply these principles in your life.